You are maybe the only person on earth who is an impartial judge of Tom Cruise's acting. How have you not seen a Tom Cruise movie?
I just thought he was like a celebrity until I was in high school, like the Scientology guy. Like I had no idea that he was an actor.
How did I not know this?
I don't know.
I talk to you for hours a day. There are people in tribes that have been previously uncontacted by human civilization, and if they've seen a movie, it's a Tom Cruise movie.
That's crazy.
Like, this is unbelievable. He might actually be the most famous person on Earth.
That's what everyone was telling me.
You're the only person on Earth who has had no exposure to Tom Cruise. The rest of civilization is so used to Tom Cruise's acting that we think it's good, and that it's not. That we've been groomed to think that it's good. but you're the only one who can tell us that it's not.
The very first few minutes of him like speaking, I got like, this is like student film. Kill me. It was so bad.
Welcome to a very special edition of the Solo Moviegoers Club, a podcast where typically me, Sean, my daughter Kaya, go see movies alone. Me in Detroit, she's in LA, and then we come here and talk about the movie before we've talked to anyone else about it. But in this episode, since Kaya was here in Michigan, we went to see a movie together. And this week's movie was
F1.
Not only did we see F1, we saw F1 in IMAX, the way it's meant to be seen. And typically the format of this podcast is we come here, we tell each other what we thought about the movie, and then we talk a little about the plot, but not too much. Then we'll kind of get into what we thought about it, kind of what happened in our lives other than the movie. Then we'll go through a couple reviews, and we'll talk about what we're going to see the following week. There's no format to this.
Yeah.
We show up and talk about a movie that we both saw that we haven't talked about yet. That's the podcast format. Let's kick this off. Why don't you tell our viewers what F1 was about?
Essentially, I'm really bad at the summaries, but I'll say this. It's about Sonny, who is kind of like almost a retired racer. We don't really know at the beginning kind of what happened to him or like why he stopped racing, but he's basically just like a nomad, like living in a van, gambling, small town in, I assume, the South. And his friend, who he used to race with, comes to visit him and like pitches this idea because he's in so much debt. Like, hey, I have this F1 team. I need you. Like, you're the only person for the job. He thinks it's a bad idea, but he decides to go anyway. And it's basically just about him getting back in there. I don't really know. What else would you add? I don't really know what else to add.
This movie, if you've seen the movies Top Gun and Cars 3...
It was Cars. No, it's Cars 1. No, it was
Cars 3. It's Cars 3.
That's why I wanted to see it.
So Sonny is Lightning McQueen.
Yeah.
And Joshua, the new driver,
well, I feel like they're a combination of the two.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. There are. So it's sort of this is... If you pull other vehicle movies together, this is a combination of Cars 3, Cars 1, Top Gun, and Ford versus Ferrari. There are elements of all of those movies in it. And so I have to say, so this movie to me is, of course, sure. Like, are there twists and turns, and there's racing. So naturally, like, sports movies always have the advantage of there is a thing happening and you want to watch the people who you want to win try to win. Mm-hmm. At some point they're going to be losing. Oh, there's also like some Rocky Balboa. There's some Rocky 4, though, I think is the one where it's Rocky versus Ivan Drago. There's some of that's like very clear. Like there's shots from Rocky 4 that are in this movie. So Sonny is this old school driver. He just drives, right? His training regimen is he wears old sweatpants and he jogs around a track, and to work on his hand-eye coordination, he throws tennis balls against the wall. And then Joshua, who's like the young up-and-coming guy, uses a virtual car, and he's running with this like gas mask thing on to I should know what all of this is. This technology's been around forever. But he's using the high-tech gym equipment, and he's using this like touchpad to work on his hand-eye coordination and his hand speed. And everything that Joshua does is not what Sonny would do. And so you get to see the new school and the old school, and obviously there's a lot that the new school has to learn from the old school, but the old school has to learn from the new school a bit too. That there, I mean, those shots, those training sequences where you see Sonny training versus Joshua training, that's straight up Rocky 4, 100% Rocky 4, exact shots from that movie. But this is a movie, I would say, even though I keep going back to plot, where the plot is less important than the technical execution of this film. So this is something I felt myself feeling a lot while watching this, is that there's this term for, it's kind of a gross term, but a term for when you watch people who are really, really good at doing something, which is competency porn. That is what this movie is. The filmmaking of this movie. I felt the same way when I saw Top Gun, and I actually took some heat on a podcast that I did once because I said this. Because whatever, the big critique of Top Gun is that it's like an artistic extension of the military-industrial complex. So people have like beef with it, but it is so incredibly well made. This is the same director as Top Gun, and.
Well, I was looking into it. It took them 4 years to film this, and they worked like very close with actual F1 racers. So
yeah, but even from I'm talking from a filmmaking, throw out the fact that this is about F1 racing, because that is shocking to me. The fact that they were able, I'm so curious. I want to watch BTS of this movie. I want to know how they filmed those cars, how much of this was CG, how much was actual cars that were being filmed, how many cameras were in the cars, what kind of drone versus helicopter work was being done, how many real races they filmed at to get some of this footage. I want to see all of that. But to me, the way this movie was shot, edited, constructed, written, everything about it is done so incredibly well, and all of it holds up to the scrutiny of the largest screens in the world, IMAX. This is people are mad at Hollywood because Hollywood just keeps churning out franchise movies and Marvel movie after Marvel movie, and you could argue that this is an IP based franchise kind of film because it's F1, right? It's built on F1, but these are brand new characters that we've never seen before, and it's a world that we haven't seen on screen like this before. So I'm going to say this is an original movie, and it's one that's executed at an outrageously high level. A lot of times I see these movies that are made for $200 million, and I cannot figure out where they spent the money because it's just a vast sea of obvious CG that I think AI is going to do a lot of very soon. This is a movie where I feel I forget, I looked it up. They spent a couple $100 million on this. It's a $200 million movie. I feel every single dollar on the screen. Yeah. I actually can't figure out how this movie didn't cost more.
I know. With all the cars, all the parts,
yeah. It's
wild.
Unbelievable. It's funny. So I took some notes during this movie. First of all, I took a note of every brand that I saw in this film because it's
so many.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because the movie opens with Sonny, who's this old school guy wearing a pair of Apple AirPods Max.
Yeah. Well, it's an Apple movie.
It's an Apple movie. It's an Apple movie. But they don't, right from the very opening shot of the movie, they remind you that it's an Apple movie. And I thought, I don't know if that was a bit of a bit of an inconsistency for the character, or if it didn't matter. Everybody wears those. You have some on the table right now, right? Those are just the headphones that people wear. But beyond that, and obviously the world of racing is very heavily saturated with brands, but this movie takes it a step further because I don't know if you noticed that the racing company, which I'm assuming the brand that he races for, Apex, is not a real racing company.
Yeah, it's not.
And one of their sponsors
the
other ones were.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Super crazy. Imagine coordinating that. All these brands and who gets placement where and who wins and who loses. Ferrari can't be stoked to have their car lose, but Lewis Hamilton was an executive producer on the movie, and he loses the race. Shocking. Plot, spoiler alert.
I started watching the show about F1 racers.
Drive to Survive on Netflix.
Last night. It's very good, and it just gave me better insight into the real racers and how things go, and it looked very similar to this movie, but the way that they do their shameless product plugs with scratching their collars and stuff, I noticed it throughout the movie, and I thought it was so funny because they constantly have so many sponsorships, but I don't know how they don't intertwine or how the contracts work. It's crazy.
And so thinking about that, And then think about that for the movie. Someone's job on this movie was to coordinate what brand gets shown in what light. And the best one for me was it was Ninja Blenders. So Ninja the Blender Company was very prominently placed on the Apex company, like all their gear, their car, their whatever flight suit, racing suit that they wear. Yeah. And then there was a scene where Joshua's mom is cooking for him, and in the kitchen is a Ninja blender, like placed perfectly in the frame. Yeah. And it's interesting because obviously Hollywood is changing, and it's harder and harder to make big movies or any movies that aren't based on existing franchises, aren't sequels. This was, and if the way they do that is through product placement or through brand integration, which has been done for a long time. Actually, that was like the start of television, was soap operas. Have we talked about this on this podcast?
I think so.
Soap operas, they literally like would stop and sell soap in the middle of the show. I don't mind. If this is the way that we get original movies, like, I don't care, because this was awesome. Like, it was thrilling to see this. And at first I was annoyed because because I felt like it was being...
You didn't expect it?
I didn't expect it. I didn't expect the AirPods Max showing up in the first scene. I was like, okay. That
was dope.
But
with Led Zeppelin, whole lot of love
the song was amazing. That was cool. So I had like a bit of an emotional journey throughout this movie. And Can I also state that this is the first movie that we've seen together since starting this podcast, and it was so distracting to watch you take notes in the movie. Yeah,
like, it was crazy.
My phone did not make any noise during the movie, but I was taking notes.
But, like, the light, like...
I
was like, what is he taking? I was like, what am I missing? What should I be taking a note on? Like, I felt like I was in school again or something.
There's a part of me that was wondering, like, what is the line? What is the difference between a commercial, art, and entertainment?
Okay.
Because there's definitely elements of this movie that are 100% a commercial. It's a commercial for F1. It's a commercial for Apple. It's highly entertaining. It's definitely entertainment.
I also feel like it's also, like, based on a true story, kind of. Like, there's elements of it that feel like the plot lines are from real life. I'm sure
they've taken this. I'm sure that they took this. I would like to know where they came up with some of this. And some of the elements of this definitely, like, if you watch if you liked this, you'll love Ford versus Ferrari.
I know, you told me that.
It's so good. And I think that there's elements of that story that are here. There's a bit of Rocky. There's a bit of every sports movie, right? That's in it. But the question for me, I think there's like some bit of, I don't know, pretense or something that I carry with me, which is it's almost like if something is too perfect a piece of entertainment, it's hard for me to accept it as art. But that's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, everybody involved at making this was at the absolute top of their game in terms of executing this art. And it got me thinking that if you could tell, yes, inherently this story is not going to change your idea of what storytelling is. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a very traditional story, which is people overcoming. It's the hero's journey, right? This is going to be a really great sports movie hero's journey that is going to entertain the masses. And why can't that also be art? It is, but couldn't you... What I think needs to happen is, I think independent filmmakers who are always like anti-entertainment and anti-mass entertainment and anti-commercial entertainment, I think need to study the technical execution of a movie like this. Sure, if I had sweeping helicopter shots with fireworks going off in the background. By the way, so many fireworks in this movie, like crazy amount of fireworks. If I had all these things, I could make a cool movie. No, you couldn't, because you would still need to know how to shoot it, how to edit it, how to craft a story, how to ride like the emotional trajectory and waves. What if you could take that technical competency, and then do it? Why couldn't you do it with significantly less money and make something just as entertaining as this? About like a bank robber who who and like two of their friends who were trying to do, so like, why couldn't you do the indie movie version of this? I don't think what makes this movie great is the things that cost a ton of money. Sure, that's what looks awesome on an IMAX screen, but I think it's the actual storytelling that makes this so thrilling.
I agree. Also, like, I wanted to say this earlier, like, I saw Mission Impossible, and, like, that's a franchise movie, and I'm just going to say I thought it was terrible, and I think it's because it was so perfect, and it had, like, that, I always call it a Mormon glaze, but it's, like, that hallmarky, like, perfect movie. What were we just talking about the other day where I was telling you, like, things look too perfect? Like, this movie didn't feel that way to me, even though I suppose you could say that it is.
So this is another thing.
Netflix. We were talking about Netflix movies.
Studios have a look.
Yeah.
And Netflix's look for their narrative films is bad. Like, really, really bad. There's an article.
Like, it doesn't look realistic, I guess.
It doesn't look realistic because it doesn't look lived in. So
yeah.
There's this article, we'll like link to it or show a clip from it or something, that shows a scene from When Harry Met Sally, and it's Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal sitting in this diner, and the diner's lived in. Mm-hmm. It feels messy. There's people everywhere. There's stuff. It looks like a diner that you've been to anywhere. Go to any city, and that's what a diner looks like. Packed full of people, packed full of noise. And then there's this scene from some Netflix movie, and it's supposed to be at a diner, but it looks like something out of like some David Lynch movie where there's nobody in the diner. The colors are so off that
like
no
empty,
diner would ever be.
It's like 2 empty plates or something. It's like so bad.
It's so empty, and I think that sometimes it's easy to associate a level of polish with that kind of emptiness simply because this is what Netflix and some of the other streamers have trained us to expect at this point. Apple doesn't do that.
No.
Like I think Apple, there's a lot of reporting that's been done on this, but Apple struggled with their movies. This movie's not going to break even for like at the theater, but Apple doesn't need it to because it's a product placement for headphones. It's going to go on their streaming platform.
That's
like
so shocking.
But
people always say that Apple movies and Apple TV shows are their favorite or like the best ones.
TV shows don't count because TV shows don't and Apple also is interesting because Apple doesn't need to have however many subscribers to Apple TV Plus or whatever they call their streaming platform, because they are selling you this Apple device, that Apple device, this, like, we're surrounded by Apple devices. They need to keep selling those things, so they need to keep making entertainment that you can consume on their expensive products. Because they make an expensive premium product, the look of all their shows or their movies has to be premium as well. Their brand they can't make a movie that looks like a Netflix movie. It would destroy them. Mm-hmm. So they'd rather make something expensive that technically loses money because it doesn't lose money.
How would this lose money with all of the brands and sponsorships? And
we can put it up. Supposedly, and there's a lot of discussion about this. I think I might get this a little wrong. I think it was $200 million to make, maybe $250 to make. It then cost $100 million to market, and so far it's made like $290 worldwide in box office, but half of that money goes to the theaters. So this movie has to make a tremendous amount of money to be able to actually profit. But again, if they were to break even, this would be a tremendous win, I would think, because it boosts the Apple brand for everything else they do. Yeah. There's 1 million Apple screens in the movie. There's the Apple headphones that we mentioned. But overall, I think the Apple look, like the Apple Studio look, is rich and lived in.
It's really good.
Have you seen the movie The Studio? Or the show, the series, the Seth Rogen series, The Studio?
I haven't seen it, but I've seen like clips.
So I am in the minority, I think, of film people. I don't love it. But I love that it's super ambitious, and I love how it looks. It looks incredible. Like, the costume design is amazing. The cars in it are phenomenal. They built this like Frank Lloyd Wright inspired movie studio building that Seth Rogen's movie studio is based out of that looks unbelievable. I would love to go see where that set is and see what it looks like. And it's, to me, Apple feels like they're making movies and shows on the level of like what you associate with like a Warner Brothers or a Universal or like a real movie studio, as opposed to all the other streamers that are I mean, Hulu aside, because Hulu, they work with a lot of other people. Like
Yeah,
they're like
I feel like they don't have a look.
Hulu doesn't count because they work with so many other studios, and because it was built as it can be before Disney owned it wholly, it was built as a conglomeration of other studios. Obviously, Disney has its own look and its own feel, but as they became all these other companies, I mean, Disney is Marvel, Disney is Star Wars,
Yeah.
but like each of those studios kind of have their own look and feel, which is also big and lived in. And I feel like Apple is, of like the modern studio streamers, doing it better than anybody. Their stuff always looks great.
Yeah, I agree.
This is the kind of thing that is going to get people to go to theaters. If you look at like what the industry says is, oh, audiences only want sequels. Audiences want
Who
franchise.
says
This
that?
is this is what Hollywood thinks, right? So Megan 2, I don't want to like hate. I think what Blumhouse does is really cool, but
I'm going to hate.
well, everybody is hating on Megan 2. It's not doing well, and so like Jason Blum has even been. He's the dude who owns Blumhouse. He's been saying that they miscalculated what their audience wanted.
Yeah.
And I think that there is sequel fatigue. I think there's a lot of it, and I think that the reason audiences have been seeing sequels is because audiences want big movies on big screens. And studios have only been willing to put out sequels, when in reality, if you make big, new, exciting, original movies and just commit to it and take the risk, people will see it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like this, that we saw this movie
Late.
and there were a decent amount of people in the theater. We saw it in a huge IMAX. We saw, by the way, we always talk about our theatrical
I
experience.
know. I was going to bring that up, but you keep yapping. We didn't get to talk about it yet.
So what was your theatrical experience?
It was a gross theater. The seats were disgusting and old, and they weren't even red. They were gray. There were stains all over them. It was sick.
This is what a really nice theater looked like in like 1996.
Atrocious. The bathrooms were horrific.
The
Scary.
The one thing I will say, though, is video and audio quality, phenomenal.
Yeah, it was good.
It was a giant IMAX screen. It looked great. We had a debate about this. You wanted to go to the closer, nicer theater
Yeah.
and didn't care about the IMAX.
I never do.
I was so happy we saw this on IMAX.
I don't really care about IMAX movies, to be honest.
I love them. I thought you wanted to like make IMAX underwater documentaries.
I do, but I don't really care to see them that way. It's different. That's so different.
I don't think it is. This movie was shot.
Why? It didn't feel like an IMAX screen to me. That's like...
That was a big one.
That's like what they look like in LA, I feel like.
And this was shot on IMAX. Like this movie,
Yeah.
you are missing things if you are not. Sinners, I didn't see on IMAX, and I wish I would have.
Yeah.
So that's actually one interesting thing. So we did not talk about this movie, with the exception of we told each other we liked it. We had to drive home, by the way, not able to talk about it. We listened to the soundtrack, but we couldn't talk about the movie. We barely spoke on the
Yeah.
drive home as a result.
I already listened to the soundtrack before we watched this movie because I have been anticipating this movie for like months, and it's so good. Like I already knew all of the songs, so I was so excited when I watched the movie. It was so good.
And that's so interesting. So everything about this movie, with the exception of Apple being the studio behind it, is a throwback. This is the kind of movie that we used to get. Even the lead actor in it, Brad Pitt. This is the kind of movie we would have gotten in the late 90s, early 2000s. An original movie about a brand new character that is big, that has a movie star behind it, that isn't based on, I mean, it kind of is based on IP, kind of not, but that also releases a soundtrack of original songs made for the movie prior to the release of the movie that get people excited about it. I used to buy CDs before the movie would come out, and it would get me excited for the movie, and they don't do that anymore, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't either.
I'm really hoping that studios look at this, look at the past couple of months and say, okay, Sinners, original movie, crushed it at the box office. This movie's killing, even though this might not be on paper profitable, it will be profitable for Apple overall, and it is already doing killer business at the box office.
Everyone that I've talked to has loved it and been so excited to see it.
And versus, not to hate on Megan 2, but Megan 2 is exactly what like studios have been pumping out that they think works, and it's not. So like people want original movies, and Hollywood needs to listen and make big original movies, release soundtracks before the movie comes out, build the storytelling around the movie before the movie comes out. There's so many avenues now to be able to promote a movie that you didn't have in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
Like you can send your cast. Like Brad Pitt's doing podcasts. When would you think that one of the biggest movie stars in the past 40 years would be doing podcasts? And he is. This is like, I think that, or like even thinking about Sinners and Ryan Coogler doing that explainer video talking about why you should see it in IMAX and all the different screening formats of the movie.
Yeah.
Like that stuff is cool. Like whether you care or not, some people do care. And that's my point, is that there's so many ways to reach audiences now, and there's so few people taking advantage of that, that I hope that this becomes a case study for studios to say, we need to take risks. We need to, which by the way, like take the director of this, like Joseph Kosinski, the dude's been making really big, really successful movies for a long time, and you put a giant movie star in it and you set it in a world that people like to see on screen. It shouldn't be that big of a risk, but it is a big risk because it's like, oh, well, you know, we should be making another Avengers movie. And
Which is crazy.
No, you shouldn't be.
This seems at the same level playing field.
Of risk?
Yeah.
I think it's less risk at this point, but that I don't run a movie studio.
Yeah.
I can talk to people who do, and there is a friend who used to run a movie studio. I want to talk to him about what his takeaway on this is and what he thinks the studio's takeaway from this. Because this, first of all, I want to say this movie is mad inspiring. Like crazy inspiring. How do you watch this movie and not walk out of it and feeling great? Whatever it is that you want to do in your life, you will walk out of this movie and say, I want to do what I do on the biggest scale possible in the best way possible.
I want to be an F1 racer now.
You want to be an F1 racer? Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Get started. Mm-hmm. Yeah. For me, it was, and the best thing too is that at the end of the movie, Sonny, Brad Pitt's character, he wins the race. Shocker. He wins the race, and he then goes off to do another thing because he accomplished what he set out to do. And that to me was really cool. And that's
I
also,
love that too.
But also, isn't there a lesson for Hollywood there?
Yeah.
Like, you made Avengers. It made $1 billion. It was awesome. Everybody loved it.
Move on.
I loved it. Yeah, move on. Once you've done the thing, move on.
Yeah.
And hopefully this movie will be a lesson both in terms of story and box office performance that you can do something and move on. And hopefully it's a lesson for other people too. Like what?
Try new things. That's how I want to live life.
Try new things, take risks, go at whatever it is you're doing with absolute reckless abandon. And don't be afraid to push the people around you to do more and do better. Like those were the takeaways. And that's where I think too, where a lot of people like will discount mainstream entertainment is I think that the Hollywood at its best is an absolute inspiration machine. Like when you think of some of the classic movies that you want to go back and revisit, they're movies that make you feel really, really good and make you feel like anything you want to do in your life is possible. And this does that on an epic scale.
For sure. I hate conflict in movies. I hate it. And I loved this. I loved the conflict, which I guess makes sense because I love cars so much, but I don't really understand why I feel this way.
This movie was mad conflict.
Like we walked out of the theater and there was like a group of people together and they're like, I was so stressed out that whole movie. That freaked me out so much. Or I don't even know exactly what they said, but I was like, I feel like it didn't stress me out.
Yeah, I think somebody said they felt their blood pressure rising the entire movie is what they said. And it was also, I took a look around during the movie. This was like an incredibly diverse group of people watching this movie. Like everybody, if you were to do like a catch-all of America it was this group of people in this theater, which I think is really good. I think is a really good sign for the movie industry. For sure. This also, like you could say, an Apple TV subscription. I mean, this is the argument, is that people don't go to movies anymore because they're waiting for movies to come out on streaming platforms. You know Apple's making this movie. It's all over. Like, right? This is advertised as an Apple movie. Everyone knows this is an Apple movie. You could, what's Apple cost per month? I don't know. Let's just say it's $15 a month. I don't know what it is. You know that instead of taking your family of 4 to the movie, which is going to cost you like $80 or something, you could just wait. And I don't know what things cost. We're just it's out there.
Okay.
I don't know.
What are you getting at the theater?
I don't have any idea what things cost. I feel like when I take people to the movie, it's $80 or $100.
Okay.
I don't know. That's how much money I spend when I go to the movie, I think. So you spend whatever. The point I'm going to make is it would be a lot cheaper to wait and get an Apple TV subscription for a month and watch all the programming that Apple has to offer as opposed to going to that movie. What the industry says is people aren't going to movies because they know they can get it for free in 30 days. I disagree with that.
Yeah, me
because
too.
people know they can get this movie for free soon, or not for free, but bundled in with their subscription soon. They choose not to do that because this movie begs you to go to a theater to see it.
Yeah.
And that is what Hollywood needs to do, is just make great movies that people don't, it's not just that they don't want to wait, it's that they want to see it in the theater.
Yeah. I also feel like I know that once it comes out, there are more options, so I'm not going to watch it. That's why I want to go to the theater. So I can watch it.
What did that happen to me with? There was something I didn't see in the theater.
There's so many things that you didn't see that you wanted to see so bad. And you're like, oh, I'll just watch it on streaming.
And then I'll watch it in like 2 years.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I just forget. It just gets buried. There's so many new things coming out all the time, whether it's from a theater or it's something that they put directly on their platform. So it's like, I have way too many options. There's a paradox of choice.
Thanks, Barry Schwartz.
Mm-hmm. Life would be so simple if the only movies we had available were the ones that are in the theater, like the 10 to 15. I don't even know how many are in the theater at a time. But like if those were the only options, it would be so magical.
Yes. I think that Hollywood has devalued movies, both
they're just pumping them out,
literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
So through streaming, Hollywood has, there is this concept in human relationships that you train people how to treat you. If you let someone disrespect you, what are they going to do?
Disrespect you.
Yes. If you treat someone that there is a consequence for disrespecting you, what are they going to do?
Exactly.
And I think that Hollywood has done this really, really, really poorly, where they have trained audiences for 10 years to believe that movies literally aren't worth anything because you don't pay anything for them. Mm-hmm. So this happened in the music industry. Like as soon as Napster came out, people just stopped buying albums. I mean, some people bought music on iTunes for a while. Then Apple Music started. I guess Apple Music, I saw it's the 10th year of Apple Music. Mm-hmm. So you could just get everything for free. So music isn't worth anything anymore, but musicians tour. Yeah. And they can make money that way. I guess a lot of them lose money still. But there's a lot of ways for a musician to make money outside of their actual streaming streams. Mm-hmm. Hollywood just said, we're going to put all of this for free. And yes, I understand. Someone said this to me recently, that Hollywood hasn't taught people that it's free. Nothing's free. You're paying $9.99 a month, $15 a month. I promise you, psychologically, there is not a person out there who watches a movie on Netflix or on Hulu and thinks about the cost of streaming that one movie compared to their $9 a month that they're spending. It just doesn't happen because you've already paid for it. It just doesn't work like that. Psychologically, even though, yes, a fraction of your $9.99 a month is going towards that film, mm-hmm. no one thinks of it that way. They think of the movie as free. And Correct. The minute you make a movie free, it's now worthless. They have made movies worthless. And you need to drive people to the theater where they pay for a ticket and it's something that they talk about. It's also like...
That's why I'm okay with watching a show on streaming platform. It doesn't feel as worthless to me, but a movie does.
Because TV's always been free.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
TV's always been free. Or even like HBO was seen as the premium. It's not TV, it's HBO, right? That was like their famous tagline, or like it's HBO, it's not TV. I forget which one it was, but you were paying for HBO beyond your normal TV because you were buying something premium. It's I get to watch The Sopranos, I get to watch The Wire, I get to watch these things that are premium offerings, and I pay a premium price for it. And this isn't just like me as an industry person wanting to make more money off of the things that I make. It's literally saying that this isn't about the economics from that angle. It's about the economics from a psychological angle. It's about the behavioral economics of it, of associating cost. Also, I think spending the time to go to the theater, I am way more likely to tell somebody about the movie I saw at the theater than I am the movie that I saw on a streaming platform.
That's interesting.
When is the last time a movie came out exclusively to streaming that had a like major cultural breakthrough?
I don't know.
Different thing. It's always series. It's always series. Well, that one was like Bird Box. It was so long ago.
And wasn't that because of COVID?
No, Bird Box was before COVID.
Okay.
It was like a year or two before COVID.
What about like Parasite?
Parasite was in theaters.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
wow. Then yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It does not happen. Streaming movies do not hit the cultural zeitgeist the same way that theatrical movies do. And I think it's 100% the psychology of paying for a movie and going to the theater to see it. I am paying with my money. I am paying with my time. I am setting aside time. I'm going to see this thing. Here's another part of it. You're not on your phone. Unless you're me taking notes. But
God forbid.
You're not on your phone at a movie theater, which forces you to watch the movie the way the movie was intended to be watched, the way people watch movies. Everyone watched movies up until a couple of years ago, whereas now you're watching it on streaming. And I'm as guilty of this as anybody. Like, I will be watching a streaming movie and I'll have to rewind it because I realized that I just got into like a 4 or 5 minute email drafting experience while watching the movie. And that doesn't happen in the theater. So you're more psychologically invested, you're more physically invested, you're more financially invested. And then you go talk to people about it, and then other people go see it. And that is how a movie has cultural impact. This movie is just a beautiful example on every level of why the theatrical experience can still be a great business model for films and can make films still have cultural impact as opposed to a streaming model. So, okay, speaking of the theatrical experience, I failed to see Mission Impossible because it didn't look good. Sorry. I just had no interest in seeing Mission Impossible.
He forced me to see this 3-hour movie that I wanted to see, but like, I don't know. So
I was too, at the time, it was, okay, I'll straight up, why I didn't go see Mission Impossible? Because there's like, was it like Mission Impossible 7 or 8 or something? Like, I've seen the movie before, and I don't want to commit 3 hours of my time to see something I've seen so many times. Mm-hmm. It was just really hard for me to do, plus other like life circumstances and things. And I was so excited. Every time I would think about going to see Mission Impossible, all I could think about seeing was 28 years later.
And it wasn't even out yet.
Because and granted, that's a franchise movie.
Yeah.
But they haven't made one in a while, and it's a very different story, and the marketing around it was good. Whereas Mission Impossible was like, go see Tom Cruise, do more of the same. So anyways, we never got to talk about Mission Impossible. Kaya had an experience in the theater at Mission Impossible that she has been wanting to share with me.
So I just want to start off by saying I saw this with my friend. We decided to go see this movie, and I have never seen a Mission Impossible movie. In fact, I've never seen a movie with Tom Cruise in it. So this is my first impression of Tom Cruise as an actor. My friend is like, he's the best actor. This is going to be so good. The Mission Impossible movies are so good. You were saying that too. Everyone was telling me it's Tom Cruise. Like, it's going to be so good. Even Mommy was telling me that. And Mommy's not a big movie person. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be so good. So we sit down in the theater and it starts. And I'm not kidding. This guy comes in like 10 minutes late, like super, super late and loud. And he's so upset because he thinks these people are in his seat. Like this, it's like a mom and daughter. This theater is not packed. There's a seat like right behind it, right in front of it, next to it. Like there are plenty of seats right in this vicinity. And he's screaming and yelling at this like family to like move and is like stressing everyone out. And it's seriously, I've never experienced anything like that in the theater. I thought it was so ridiculous. It's just this grown man alone by himself watching this movie, and he's so grumpy and angry that he's yelling at everyone. And like, no one can pay attention to the movie. I'm not kidding. This goes on for like almost 10 minutes, like an altercation. I literally thought he was going to start swinging, but that's what happened. And I must say, it was the worst movie ever. Ever. 3 hours. Both my friend and I had to take intermissions to like just go walk around outside in the hall. We both wanted to leave, but we decided to sit through it, and it was rough. It was so bad.
Yeah, that
Also, I have to say it, I don't think Tom Cruise did it for me. I don't like his acting, I don't think. I think it was a little bit too Hallmarky. I like cringed. Like the very first few minutes of him like speaking, I got like, this is like student film. Kill me. It was so bad.
So this is wild. You know how like when a famous person is on trial, they have to try really hard to find jurors who aren't partial? You are maybe the only person on earth who is an impartial judge of Tom Cruise's acting. How have you not seen a Tom Cruise movie? Okay, I have shown you so many movies over the course of time. I've been trying to get you to watch Magnolia, and you haven't been.
You know.
But like, have I failed since you haven't seen a Tom Cruise movie?
This is so funny because this is like
crazy.
a Trisha Paytas bit where she's like, "Oh, I've never had a salad. I've never had that," and then like the internet will give her a bunch of videos of her doing that thing or trying that thing. But like, I swear to God, I looked it up. I'm like, there's no way I haven't seen a movie with him. I've never seen one with him in it. Ever.
You are like in an experiment. You're like a hermetically sealed like petri dish that we can now experiment things on, because you're the only person on Earth who has had no exposure to Tom Cruise until 2025.
2025, I think, or the end of last year is the first time I've ever seen a Quentin Tarantino movie, just because as a teenager, I wanted to make movies, but I said that I hated movies, so I never watched them, and I would boycott. So I think it has something to do with teenage angst, but still.
Doesn't matter. Tom Cruise movies are unavoidable. There are people in tribes that have been previously uncontacted by human civilization, and if they've seen a movie, it's a Tom Cruise movie.
That's crazy.
Like, this is unbelievable. He might actually be the most famous person on Earth.
That's what everyone was telling me.
This is crazy. I can't. Okay, we should have led with this, because I don't know how we can possibly wrap this podcast up in the next 15 minutes, which we're supposed to, now that I have this information. There are so many things I need to show you and I need to find out. Okay, so there's a possibility here.
Okay, go.
There's a possibility that the rest of civilization is so used to Tom Cruise's acting that we think it's good, and that it's not. That we've been groomed to think that it's good. but you're the only one who can tell us that it's not.
I guess I need to watch one. I promised myself I probably wouldn't watch another Tom Cruise movie, but maybe I should.
So you need to watch Magnolia, because it's the antithesis of a Mission Impossible movie. It's Tom Cruise doing, with the exception of one thing, doing some very non-Tom Cruise acting. There's so many movies you need to watch where he's so good, though. Like A Few Good Men, Rain Man, Top Gun, which...
Yeah, I've never seen Top Gun.
Top Gun is a bad example if you want to talk about the acting. I love Top Gun. I think Top Gun's underrated. I think everything about it's really good. But it's very Mission Impossible-y Tom Cruise acting. Like His
acting is like... It almost feels like an SNL skit or like a parody. It's like there's no way a real talented, huge actor speaks like they're in a teen theater production. Like, it's crazy.
Or are the teen theater productions that you've experienced, have they been influenced by the Tom Cruise acting? This is like when I was younger, everybody was emulating like Marlon Brando or James Dean. Has everybody since then been emulating Tom Cruise?
You might be onto something, but
Okay.
It's like the way that I act. I can't act, by the way. It's like whenever I've been in like a school production, it's like so exaggerated, so bad. Like, I'm the hero. Like, oh my God. I truly, I can't put it into words how terrible it was.
So I can't act either. I can't walk on camera. I have had to be an extra in several of my movies. I've showed you. I have a speaking role in one of Adam's movies.
Oh, it's
that got
terrible.
turned into a series.
It's terrible.
I'm great. I'm playing myself, by the way. But I forget how to move my body when I'm on camera. I don't know how or why.
Yeah.
It's shocking that I worked with actors for a living, but I can't do it. Mm-hmm. And it's hard enough for me to try to pretend to be a real human, let alone to try to pretend to be a human in a fictional scenario.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. It's just too much. We are doing a special investigative episode of the Solo Moviegoers Club in which Kaya is going to watch Tom Cruise movies and determine once and for all of human civilization, if Tom Cruise is a good actor. Kaya, do you accept this challenge?
I guess I have to. I don't really want to, but I'm willing to take one for the team and for the good of society.
This is for the good of humanity. I actually think that this future anthropologists could find value in this. You are an untouched specimen. The fact that you have had no exposure to Tom Cruise until you're like,
I just thought he was like a celebrity until I was in high school, like the Scientology guy. Like, I had no idea that he was an actor.
This is crazy to me. How did I not know this?
I don't know.
I talk to you for hours a day. How do I not know that you've never seen a Tom Cruise movie?
I don't know.
This is
you don't
impossible.
Know me.
This is impossible. Does Mumsy know this?
Probably.
That you've never seen a Tom Cruise movie?
Well, I think she does now because I like mentioned it to her and she was like telling me that he was so good. So
like,
she thought that movie would be good.
By default, I would have had to have imagined that you would have seen a Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah. Well, my friend that I went with was dying because he was like, there's no way you've never seen a Tom Cruise movie. Like, that's absurd. And like, yeah, maybe it is.
I'm shocked. I'm mystified. I'm a little horrified. I'm also kind of excited because now we get to show you all these Tom Cruise movies. I'm going to figure out some experiment we can do here to determine what your Tom Cruise experience was. Was it just a bad movie? Is his acting not tolerable if you haven't been groomed to appreciate his acting?
Yeah.
Is there... What is happening here? Now I need to see the movie.
I think you need to see it too.
I need to see the movie as part of my research.
I also feel like I told myself I wouldn't see another Mission Impossible movie, but I feel like maybe if I saw the first one, I would get a better feel for that acting. I don't know. It was bad. It was really bad.
The first, I can't remember if it was the first or second Mission Impossible. Speaking of like cultural impact of movies, had so much cultural impact. Like Tom Cruise hanging off of the side of that cliff. Tom Cruise. The big one was him lowering down from the ceiling into that like laser protected alarm system. You know these images.
Yeah, I mean the stunts were amazing. That was the best part for sure. But
you could have just watched the stunts on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I need to digest this. Back to F1, which, by the way, I think there was, I think it was Ford versus Ferrari. Tom Cruise had an offer to be in that movie and chose not to be when he found out they wouldn't let him really drive the cars.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I think both of the characters, Joshua, JP, and Sonny, both, like, they both drove the cars. They both did, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's super
cool. They did an interview about it.
So another Tom Cruise movie, Interview with a Vampire with Brad Pitt. They, I guess, at night Tom Cruise would take them to go drive go-karts or something.
Wow.
And so they were driving together. And so that was like part of this press cycle. Somehow Tom Cruise was involved in the F1 press cycle. I think he's just like an international ambassador for movies at this point. It's very strange. We've turned him into like, he's like the Ronald McDonald of movies. And everyone just, the Scientology thing, people don't talk about it anymore. It happened. It's done.
I know.
We forget about that. But
also, that's all I know him for.
Who are we? This is not the point. I was about to make a different point. This is not a point that there's no hill I will die on here. But I find it odd that it's publicly okay to just hate on Scientology and Scientologists, and everyone is fine with this because there were like a couple documentaries about Scientology doing some pretty horrible things. Find me a religion or a religious group or any group of that matter of people that have come together around an ideology that hasn't done some horrible things. Find a country that hasn't done some horrible things. Find like an administration in a country that hasn't done some horrible things. Find me any group. Find a sports team that hasn't done some horrible things. Find me that group. Look at Hollywood. Hollywood does some terrible things. Harvey Weinstein. Like there is so many there are so many groups that are otherwise good that have some people that do some horrible things. I think the only reason that people hate on Scientology so much is because it is a recent religion, which makes its claims seem so much less verifiable. Like,
no, I also think it's because there have been like stories about the founder telling people that he was going to start this like thing to get money, which I mean is like all religions, but like it's very, very recent, and like people are still alive who were like part of the foundations of it.
Correct. There's that, but still, people believe this, and it adds value to their lives. Like, it would not be cool. People would not think it was cool of me if I sat around bashing some other religion in the same way. And I'm not like giving you a hard time because you made a Scientology joke.
I feel the same way as you do.
And I will say too, I'm not like a Scientology apologist. I don't know enough about it. Like, I just don't. I've never studied it. Okay. I've watched some documentaries. Like, I've watched a South Park episode about it. Like, I've done some
deep dives.
Here's the thing, is do a deep dive on any other religion. You're going to find just as many terrible things. And I think just as many good things, too. Yeah. Like, I'm not hating on people's religion. Whatever gets you through the night, all right? But I just think that it's odd. I have rented a location from the Scientologists. I've, like, filmed at a Scientology center. Couldn't have been a better experience.
I feel like we talk about that a lot, and like I always say, if all else fails, I'll just join their production company.
Yeah, it looked really cool. They had they had a sick setup. They played lots of songs by the band Muse. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, they advertise a lot. I don't know. It seems like the Scientology economy is doing pretty well. Yeah. I've thought about it a lot of times when I was younger. When I was like about your age, maybe a little older, I always wanted to go take that like personality test where they like collect all the information on you that they supposedly then use against you later. But doesn't everyone? I grew up Catholic, going to Catholic school. What does the priest do? It collects a bunch of information on you. Like this is guilt and absolving yourself of guilt, and that guilt eventually being used of you. That's like a staple of religion. I don't know how fair it is to that society is cool with us making fun of Scientology, but not other religions.
Yeah.
We should make fun
of
all of them and none of them.
Let's make fun of all religions. Please soundbite that.
We should be making fun of all religions all day long.
Right.
No, I think that there are probably a lot of people who get a lot of good from it.
Tom Cruise.
Scientology, sign me up. Okay, so here's what I was going to say. This is something I wanted to talk to you about. F1 racing, I think, is peak humanity. You have to be very good at it. It's a combination of technical skill, athletic skill, and brain power. Mm-hmm. It is like the sum, this is what we have built up to. I think it's like, and I was also obviously, because the director of the film, thinking about fighter pilots. I think flying fighter jets and piloting F1 cars, these are two of the like peak human experiences and where we've come to as like a technobiological species. Mm-hmm. And it made me feel for a second like I don't want to lose all of this to AI, right? Like it seems like we're losing a lot to AI. We're giving a lot to AI, but there's also some really cool things that humans in our meat bodies can do. These are some of them. Look at the technological advances. You could have made the argument. You could have looked at somebody running. You could have looked at a sprinter 110 years ago and said, well, if cars can go fast, people are going to race cars and they're not going to sprint anymore. And like the fusion of man and machine and technology has been happening for so long that it's almost hard not to feel like AI is just another step like in the direction that we're already moving and have been moving. And it's only because this is happening in our lifetimes that it feels so controversial.
How much better can you really get without like the old school way of kind of training? And I don't know.
So there's a simulator they use where they can plug in the data from previous races and you can actually re-race a race that you lost, make different decisions and see if you would have won. So there's a moment where Sonny, Brad Pitt's character, gives a piece of advice to Joshua. Joshua doesn't follow through with it and almost dies as a result. And he has to build up to the point where he gets into the simulator and tries it Brad Pitt's way and he sees that he would have won the race. And so that was an interesting moment because the whole movie, like eventually Joshua starts training the way Brad Pitt was training, the old school way. He's got the tennis balls. He's abandoned his fancy machine. He's just running with his friend who's on an electric scooter, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
And you see that he had to reach back into the old school, but then he's still using the modern technology. And ultimately, one of the reasons the team was able to win is because they improved the car. So it is this fusion of man and machine, but you can't completely abandon the human. You have to use some of the machine. And the question is like, okay, so what if you could just plug all of this into AI? And now you don't even need to sit in the car and do the race. We can just tell you what would have happened. Like, I'm sure that exists. I made a documentary about the team that built the Hummer EV. And they did it during COVID. And because every other car, they kind of build the car and they go test it. Well, this one, they had to do a lot of the testing in a computer system because they couldn't get together because it was COVID. But they were so not used to this that they were shocked when they went to turn the car on for the first time and the wheels moved at all.
Yeah.
And they still had to take it out and do a lot of physical testing, but they were able to cut their timeline down by doing a lot of like AI and virtual testing. So the question is like, we keep our current era is this question. It's almost this binary of AI or human. But isn't that not the reality of what we've always done?
Yeah.
We always like bring the technology into this and it hopefully creates a better experience of being a human.
Yeah.
Is that going to continue to happen, or is this the breaking point where there's this or that?
I don't think so. People talk to me about this all the time. They're like, are you scared about losing your job? Are you scared about not being able to edit or make movies? I'm like, no.
But I do want to publicly congratulate Kaya. She got her scuba certification. Her PADI, and she is now an official scuba diver, and she is taking steps towards a career in underwater cinematography, which I think is super cool.
Yes.
So I look forward to the day when there is a movie that you have done an underwater cinematography on that we will watch for Solo Moviegoers Club.
Yeah.
That'll bring it all full circle.
Mm-hmm. I'm not scared of being replaced. Yeah, a robot could do it, but not as good.
Not as good. And by the way, I was thinking about you with your scuba. When scuba is very interesting, especially like scuba cinematography, you have to be managing the camera and all the math that goes into cinematography and all the math that goes into not dying underwater while scubaing.
Correct.
And I was thinking about that with the F1 driving there's so much math happening while you're actually driving the car.
I
it's
was thinking
crazy.
about that too.
And
it's like, truly, that's how physics comes into play. Like, teachers always tell you, you're going to use this in real life. And it's like, yeah, you kind of are. You kind of do have to use it in real life.
You are, yeah. It's wild. Like, there's so many things that I thought I would never have to use. Like, I never thought as a filmmaker I would have to use math. I use it every single day.
You have to. It's
every
crazy.
Day. Yeah, it's wild, the things. And I think that's too, like, this isn't what this podcast is about, but like, I don't know why our educational system doesn't just bring some of these things in earlier.
Yeah.
So you can see the applications of these otherwise abstract concepts that you're learning. Yeah, the editing was amazing. Stephen Mirione, I've been loving that dude's work for a long time. Some of the use of silence in this movie, I think this is some of Hans Zimmer's best work in a while. I also thought the way that this movie would interplay silence, sound design, score, and pop music needle drops.
Oh, it was everything.
It was just incredible.
It was so good.
It was really incredible. Like, if this doesn't win a handful of Oscars, like at least those technical Oscars, and by the way, technical, like, what is this, like, I think that the difference between technical and creative within the film arts is really weird. It's all creative. All of it's creative and all of it's technical. That's all one and the same. But if this doesn't win a handful of Oscars for editing, sound design, cinematography, maybe. Like, there's so many, like, it's just doing so many things.
For me, like, sound is everything in a movie. I feel like it's the thing that I notice first and the most. Like, sounds. Like, I was thinking about, like, how they were able to emulate, like, parts of different cars and different parts of the theater. Like, it was crazy. It was just so well thought out. And so that was, like, the best part of the movie for me, I think.
And the way that they didn't shy away from using the F1 commentators.
Oh, it was
to like Greek chorus the movie. That was incredible.
Yeah, it was so good.
It really added to it. And the way that the graphics were simple. Like, there were moments of this movie I kept thinking about, like, this is a mad expensive movie, and there are super simple graphics that you could make in a day that are taking up the whole screen for probably like a total of a couple minutes of the film. That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
It's like they made so many good decisions. They could have done something more embellished and chose not to.
There were, like, parts where they did split screens for Joshua and Sunny's characters when they were racing, and I thought it was so cool. It was like Mario Kart or something. Like, it was so simple but so good. Yeah,
it was really, they nailed this one. Let's see if the critics and the letterboxers agree with us.
So I just started looking on Letterboxd, and someone said that they basically said it was too generic of a title and they should have called it Pit Stop.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
somebody
who just had something they wanted to say. They wanted to make that comment.
Yeah, that's how Letterboxd is.
Dumb.
It's funny. I think it's good. Also, I rated this 5 stars. Also, I need to say, I think this is definitely going to be my favorite movie of the year. And if it is, I'm going to put it on my Letterboxd top 4.
Better than Sinners.
Way better than Sinners.
So
I want to start going to races. People come invite me to F1 races. I want to go.
Then the movie was effective from a lot of angles. But so critics have this at 83%. Popcorn meter, which is people that can vote, have it at 97%.
Wow.
So the people like this.
It only has 3.8 on Letterboxd.
So what? Salon.com smashed it, gave it a Rotten Tomato, said F1 the movie is not just a movie, it's a film constructed to look like entertainment with all the bells and whistles ringing so loudly you'll forget what you're watching, has very little in the way of actual story. I mean, I disagree. Like, I did say it was more about the more about the execution than the story, but the story was really strong.
Story. I thought it was really good.
But it's also not why you go to this movie. I don't go to have, like, my mind blown to have a story that I'm not expecting to see. Yeah. I know that one of our dudes is going to win, but I don't know how, and that's all I need. I mean, it's Titanic is the great example of that. Of, like, the ship is going to sink from the minute the movie starts, and it doesn't matter. So I don't think that's a very valid criticism. Someone else says, Pitt aside, the film is structured. This is Jonathan Dean, by the way, from the Times UK. Says, Pitt aside, the film is structured like a routine sports movie, a crashes and revivals narrative that takes place in several international Grand Prix, while doing exactly what Bruckheimer promised in delivering the most realistic racing film yet. Look at the list I have of all the brands that were mentioned. It's like 30. I don't know why.
Well, the first 5 seconds, he gets a hat from some chick for a car, I think, and then he throws it on the table with literally a pile of like 20 other hats.
Yeah, it was like Porsche, Geico, Michelin, NBC, Ford, Sunoco, Ninja, Expensify, IWC, AMG,
Visa,
Hilfiger, Aramco, DHL, tons more, Rolex. all Red Bull, Salesforce, Heineken all over the place, Heineken Zero, Qatar Airways, McLaren. Did you notice, was I right that their facility that Apex worked out of was the real McLaren facility? Did you get to that in Drive to Survive?
I started on the newest season because it's
okay.
reality,
I'm pretty sure it's the McLaren facility. Somebody call me out on that. Also, I was wondering, with the final race being in Abu Dhabi the way it was that product placement for Abu Dhabi? It felt like it.
Possibly.
Looked dope. Yeah. I'm going to go race cars in Abu Dhabi.
Nice.
This is our first one in a while. We might start mixing up this format a little, just so you guys know. We have some interesting ideas. Perhaps some things we want to try. It will always remain a podcast that celebrates going to see movies in theaters alone. No solo moviegoers. I didn't see any at this movie.
I didn't either.
It was all groups of people. All groups. We were even a group. We weren't solo, but whatever. We can celebrate all movie-going experiences, not just solo movie-going experiences, even though we are here to remove the stigma of going to movies alone.
Correct.
All right. That's all we got. And we'll see you soon. Peace.
Swag money YOLO.